Now speaking, Jimmy Sexton, Head of Investor Relations. Snowflake held their Q1 fiscal 2024 earnings call on today's date, with Chairman and CEO Frank Slootman, CFO Mike Scarpelli, and SVP of Product Christian Kleinerman in attendance. During the call, they reported financial results for the quarter and provided guidance for the second quarter and full year fiscal 2024. Forward-looking statements were made about the company's expected performance, financial results, strategy, products and features, long-term growth, stock repurchase program, and overall future prospects. GAAP and non-GAAP results were discussed, and a replay of the call was posted to the website. Now speaking, Frank Slootman, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer. Snowflake's Q1 FY 2024 saw product revenue increase 50% to $590 million, net revenue retention rate reach 151%, and remaining performance obligations total $3.4 billion, up 31% year-on-year. Non-GAAP adjusted free cash flow was also up 58% YoY to $287 million. Over 1,500 customers use Snowflake for ML, data science, or AI workloads, a 91% YoY increase. SQL proficient users can now use powerful ML extensions without data science training, while PyTorch and MLflow plugins enable model building in Snowpark. Snowflake is also acquiring Neeva, offering pre-trained AI assistants, launching the Manufacturing Data Cloud, and partnering with Blue Yonder to create an end-to-end supply chain platform. More announcements will be made at the June Summit Conference. Now speaking, Mike Scarpelli, Chief Financial Officer. Frank reported that Q1 product revenues were $590 million, representing 50% year-over-year growth. RPO grew 31%, totaling $3.4 billion, with 57% expected to be recognized as revenue in the next 12 months, a 40% increase from last year. The net revenue retention rate was 151%, including 5 new customers with $1 million in trailing 12-month product revenue. Net revenue and adjusted free cash flow outperformed targets and was driven by healthcare and manufacturing customers. Consumption varied month to month, benefiting from strong February and March. Starting in April, consumption slowed due to customer cost scrutiny and data retention policies. Price performance is expected to benefit long-term consumption. Bookings saw headwinds globally, except for North American large enterprise segment. Non-GAAP product gross margin was 77%. Non-GAAP operating margin was 5%. Non-GAAP adjusted free cash flow margin was 46%. Snowflake had $5 billion in cash equivalents and short-term/long-term investments and used approximately $192 million to repurchase 1.4 million shares at an average price of $136. For Q2, they expect product revenue between $620–$625 million, 33–34% year-over-year growth, and non-GAAP operating margin of 2%. For full year FY 2024, they expect product revenue of $2.6 billion, 34% year-over-year growth, 76% product gross margin, 5% operating margin, 26% adjusted free cash flow margin, and 362 million diluted weighted average shares outstanding. Hiring plans have been slowed and approximately 1,000 employees are expected to be added, inclusive of M&A. They will host an Investor Day on June 27 in Las Vegas. J.P. Morgan Chase & Company analyst Mark Murphy inquired, "Do you think that Snowflake's sequential growth rates would increase around the same time AWS and Azure optimizations become normalized over a few quarters, or do you view them as separate phenomena?" Do you have a follow-up to this? Frank Slootman replied, "We believe Amazon is a proxy for our deployments, due to their overwhelming market share, large percentage. We have experienced the same issues as Amazon when deploying our stack, and this indicates there's a ripple effect. Microsoft is much smaller, so they are not as predictive of our experiences as Amazon." J.P. Morgan Chase & Company analyst Mark Murphy inquired, "Have the revenue headwinds from Graviton adoption and Warehouse Builder product been completely navigated, and are there any other analogous developments that should be taken into account for the next several quarters?" Mike Scarpelli replied, "We have fully migrated all of our customers in AWS to Graviton, which is where the bulk of revenue comes from. We forecast that optimization by cloud vendors and software improvements will bring a 5% headwind to revenue every year. Additionally, some customers are changing their storage retention policies, which can lead to faster queries but also leads to lost storage revenue. This trend has been confirmed by several hyperscalers." Goldman Sachs analyst Kash Rangan inquired, "Can you provide an overview of customer consumption patterns and when they are likely to plateau and return to normal consumption?" Frank Slootman replied, over the last couple of quarters, the CFO has had more oversight and scrutiny over spending. This is rare and is usually seen in severe episodes. Companies are encouraged to do shorter-term contracts and live within their means. The current situation is still unsettled and it is unknown when this will change. Morgan Stanley analyst Keith Weiss inquired, have there been any changes to the guidance methodology over the past few quarters that could prevent further downward revisions of the fiscal year forecast? Mike Scarpelli replied, we have not changed our forecasting methodology. We look at daily consumption trends 4 weeks prior to the earnings report up until yesterday. A unique aspect of April was that there was no week-over-week growth due to customer storage retention policies. Although customers can reduce or increase their usage as needed, our forecasts are based on the available data. Wolfe Research analyst Alex Zukin inquired, have the balance of growth headwinds from optimization and rationalization changed in the last 6 to 9 months? What does Neeva provide and how does it help customers with generative AI? Mike Scarpelli replied, customer job queries grew 57% year-over-year in the quarter, outpacing revenue growth. This is due to optimizations such as using less storage for queries and the move from Graviton 1 to Graviton 2 cores. This increased efficiency is providing more value to customers. Christian Kleinerman replied, Snowflake is on a mission to extend its capabilities to bring computation close to data, evolving into an application platform. This allows for search and conversational experiences, powered by generative AI. Neeva is helping accelerate Snowflake's efforts with these features while keeping customer data secure and private. Barclays analyst Raimo Lenschow inquired, have the newer cohorts seen an increase in momentum this quarter, or is there more optimization from the older cohorts? Mike Scarpelli replied, I have noticed that our newer AWS customers are growing faster than the older ones. When we do optimizations, it has a larger impact on the larger dollars of our older customers. Our net revenue retention for growth within AWS is much higher than our overall company, likely because we are relatively new to that. Barclays analyst Raimo Lenschow inquired, have you noticed any changes in data storage and retention policies, such as retaining data for a certain number of years? Do you think these changes are temporary or will they be a permanent move going forward? Frank Slootman replied, I don't think the current cost-saving mentality in 2020 and 2021 is permanent. CFOs have given direct guidance on cost reduction, leading to operating teams looking for low-hanging fruit such as data cuts. However, this approach might have additional costs, and the sentiment of growth at all costs has been replaced with strong scrutiny and predictability. Eventually, the mindset will reach a balance between saving costs and growth. Deutsche Bank analyst Brad Zelnick inquired, can you compare our total customer portfolio to the most optimized customer to understand the potential benefit of optimizing our customer base? Mike Scarpelli replied, I am unable to provide customer data, as each customer is unique. Deutsche Bank analyst Brad Zelnick inquired, can I ask you a question about how changing storage policies can affect the business decisions of customers? Deutsche Bank analyst Brad Zelnick inquired, I would like to know, based on your weekly trend forecasting, how did May compare to April? Mike Scarpelli replied, I gave a guide of $2.6 billion for the year and there were 2 periods in May where it was strong, however the overall performance is not quite up to expectations. UBS analyst Karl Kierstead inquired, are we taking a conservative approach to our second half guidance and assuming that April to May business performance will be weaker than what we saw? Additionally, is Snowflake's sales productivity lower than desired and what steps are being taken to improve it? Mike Scarpelli replied, I apologize, Carl, for the slower than expected growth in our customer base. We have been seeing week-over-week growth on average, but it has been much lower than before and is more representative of the last 4 weeks. There will not be a straight line increase from. Frank Slootman replied, I believe sales productivity is largely a macro issue where we have reached the point of maximum resource application. In my experience, I tend to not use resources effectively, and this situation has been an exception. We've been successful and used tremendous resources. However, we need to become more selective and prioritize performance going forward to maximize our success. JMP Securities analyst Pat Walravens inquired. Mike Scarpelli replied, Pat Walravens of JMP Securities asked for information regarding Blue Yonder, which is the same as JDA, I2 and Manugistics. He requested an explanation. Frank Slootman replied, I have a long-term fascination with supply chain management because it has never been properly addressed with software and is incredibly inefficient. It is difficult to standardize due to the variability of each supply chain, but also due to data visibility issues. Snowflake can potentially solve this problem as each entity in the supply chain could become a Snowflake account, allowing for visibility. Processes are computationally intensive and run in high volume, making Snowflake well-suited to take on these workloads. Currently, financial services is the most networked segment Snowflake operates in, but I believe manufacturing and retail will overtake it in the future due to the lack of penetration and unsolved problems in. Evercore IC analyst Kirk Materne inquired, Frank and Mike, have the conversations with customers regarding AI been focused on data analysis to take advantage of opportunities? Have the savings from Neeva impacted the full-year operating margin guidance? Frank Slootman replied, Frank emphasizes the importance of highly curated data to take advantage of large language models and natural language interfaces. Snowflake services are available in the AI space, and they strive to enable customers to use their data to its fullest potential. He states that data has a gravitational pull, and Snowflake will continue to meet the tremendous demand for these workloads. Mike Scarpelli replied, Neeva has fully integrated into our guidance and they have a team of all senior engineers based in the US, who are highly skilled but expensive. Jefferies analyst Brent Thill inquired, can we expect to see Snow for Everyone with a GPT UI in front of the Snowflake data deployed internally on everyone's desktop within a certain amount of time? Frank Slootman replied, this technology is already being used internally to run on Salesforce data in Snowflake and will be available in the second half of this year. So far, it has been successful in asking relatively simplistic questions but is limited when it comes to more complex inquiries. We are currently at the top of the hype cycle, and the real work starts now as we focus on using this technology for content generation and to quickly provide answers to analytical questions. Jefferies analyst Brent Thill inquired, is 183 job openings on your website still available even though you're not bringing on a lot of new capacity? Are you freezing quota-carrying rep onboarding in the interim or are you still bringing people on? Mike Scarpelli replied, currently, our sales organization is only filling vacant positions and not hiring any new employees. We are evaluating performance and may upgrade current staff or reallocate personnel from underperforming regions to other areas. Mizuho Securities analyst Greg Moskowitz inquired, have you noticed customers reducing the refresh rate of their data, given the shift towards more data retention as an optimization strategy? Christian Kleinerman replied, Christian reports that the economic model remains largely unchanged, regardless of how frequently people update their information. Mizuho Securities analyst Greg Moskowitz inquired, have you seen potential for Neeva to help land new enterprise customers? How much value would it add to the installed base? Frank Slootman replied, Frank views search and chat as an evolution of our relationship with data, enabled by AI. He believes it has dramatically changed how we interact with information, making it incredibly empowering. Snowflake is about mobilizing the world's data, and this will be done through search and chats merging into a single natural language interface. However, he cautions that the intelligence will not only be manifested through natural language interfaces. Stifel Financial Corporation analyst Brad Reback inquired, do you have any other operational data metrics, beyond the weekly usage patterns of the installed base, that give you confidence on when NRR will bottom? Mike Scarpelli replied, I typically analyze pipeline generation, weighted pipeline, and consumption patterns over the next 3 to 4 quarters. Every Monday I sit in on sales calls where we spend time discussing customer accounts. Consumption patterns are the most important indicator of future success, as well as any new products that may come out. We are excited about recent big announcements such as Streamlit and Applica, and have seen positive results from Snowpark's daily credit consumption. Citi analyst Tyler Radke inquired, have you seen an increase in the success of your partnership with Microsoft since their addition of you as a Tier 1 partner and the evolution of their partner program? How do you fit into their product announcements such as Fabric, which unifies Microsoft's products, and what opportunities does this new partnership present? Frank Slootman replied, Microsoft's relationship with us has been maturing quickly and they prioritize choice and innovation. We have enjoyed success in competing with them and more people are coming to Azure, which benefits the world. We have established processes for addressing and resolving any issues that arise. Citi analyst Tyler Radke inquired, have you seen an increase in revenue for Snowpark this quarter and what are the main use cases driving this growth? Is it mainly Hadoop migrations or data engineering? Frank Slootman replied, Snowpark is a programmability platform for Snowflake that allows customers to read and write to the platform. It allows for cheaper, faster, simpler, and fully governed processes. The use of Snowpark has increased from 20% in one quarter to 30% of Snowflake customers using it on at least a weekly basis and is expected to reach 100%. Snowpark will become prevalent and Snowflake will own everything they can over there. Piper Sandler and Elsie Brent Bracelin inquired, have cost concerns and efforts to optimize caused a slowdown in business? Are there any products or workloads that can be used to reaccelerate the business, or is the macro environment the primary factor? Frank Slootman replied, the sentiment of the market is low due to lack of visibility, causing CTOs and chief data officers to be constrained in their spending by CFOs. AI is driving new workload development that will be hard to stop. This economic anxiety will eventually lift as similar episodes have occurred before. Piper Sandler and Elsie Brent Bracelin inquired, what made the acquisition of Neeva appealing to Senior Vice President of Product Christian Kleinerman? The combination of traditional search technology with language learning model, LLM, technology and generative AI-type technology to provide more precise answers in an enterprise setting, as well as a world-class team. Cohen and Company analyst Derek Wood inquired, have we seen any changes in win rates or workload shifts to different platforms due to the competitive environment? Has the focus on cost savings affected our ability to hold unit pricing, especially on renewals? Frank Slootman replied, Frank states that prices for computing and storage have little room for difference, however the total cost of ownership can vary greatly. He claims that has a huge advantage in this area due to its reduced skill sets and ability to abstract complexity. Christian Kleinerman replied, Frank's Snowpark platform has been outperforming competitive platforms, while also providing better price performance. This has led to customers wanting to migrate to Snowpark due to its superior technical and economic advantages. Cohen and Company analyst Derek Wood inquired, do you envision building GPU clusters to offer training and inference on your platform for LLMs, or do you think that's more suitable for hyperscalers? Christian Kleinerman replied, we are using GPUs for the multi-model collection of models being built at Snowflake, and will showcase more of this innovation at our upcoming conference. This is an important part of the current wave of AI advancement. Mike Scarpelli replied, I'm having an issue with the Scotiabank analyst, Sterling Audi. I'm having difficulty hearing the operator. Scotiabank analyst Sterling Audi inquired, have financial services been the largest contributor to increased consumption patterns post the Easter holiday? Mike Scarpelli replied, the financial services vertical is performing well, accounting for 23% of our total revenue and increasing rapidly. This growth has also been seen in areas outside of the financial services sector, with our larger customers. Mike Scarpelli replied, we experienced difficulty hearing the operator, but now have a clear connection. Wells Fargo Securities analyst Michael Turin inquired, do you believe that the revised guidance suggests growth will bounce back due to customer feedback, and that North America large enterprise is standing out favorably? Mike Scarpelli replied, we have a lot of customers, and have only migrated a small portion of their data to Snowflake. This gives us the confidence to look ahead to multi-year plans, as well as already having deals in the pipeline for the next year with long sales cycles for large customers. Additionally, we expect to launch new products over the next 2 years. Jimmy Sexton replied, thank you for joining today's call.